Welcome to Transcendent. I'm Joe, and I'm the dad.
And I'm Raya, and I'm the daughter.
Raya, you know what you call a turkey the day after Thanksgiving?
I don't know. No, what do you call a turkey the day after Thanksgiving?
Lucky.
If you're listening to this podcast on the week it's coming out, you're listening to it on Thanksgiving week. We wanted to have an episode where we're talking about things that we can be thankful for.
Well, there's a lot of good reasons for that. It's easy for us to take a look at all of the things that are happening right now in our country and some of the other countries around the world that really have been negative, and we've heard so much about that. But this week, I think it's appropriate for us to take a look at what are we really thankful for as an LGBTQ plus community and a group of people who are supporting that community. Can we look at what's positive here?
Right. And this topic, I have to say, is one of the topics that I associate with you as my dad more than anything else. You know, I remember when we were working together, we had one of our employees that was leaving to go off for another job. He had found some other position somewhere that was the next step in his career. So we did an exit interview with him. And I asked him, what is something that you like best about working here? And he said, I have to tell you, I really enjoyed your father's positive attitude. Every time I would come in, he was always excited about something. And it was always a joy to work here. And I think a lot of us in the audience, you maybe don't have that kind of positive influence. You might not have that parent or grandparent around that is supporting you and being positive all the time. And if you feel like you don't have that light, let us be your light here right now. And we want to encourage you that we don't have to be exclusively looking at all the bad things. There are reasons for us to have some optimism. And this is what I have learned, Dad, from you more than anybody else in my life. I've really gotten this from you, to always find a silver lining, always look for a place where we can be positive.
And I do that. I've done that, I think, almost all my life. But what's interesting for those of you who are listening out there, I've got some great news for you. I am retired, and I have never been more positive in my life. And this is wonderful.
Even when you were at your lowest, you still were always looking for things to be positive about.
That's true.
And yes, there were times, I don't think we ever want to push this so far, that there are some problems that you can't just positive think your way out of. And we would not want to say that. But I think there's a lot more that can be than we sometimes think. You know, we think, well, my attitude doesn't matter that much. I have some coworkers that I come in and I think every single day, no matter what it is, they will tell you something that they're frustrated about. And I think that's no way to live.
Yeah, that's true.
The thing about it, they're not wrong about the things that they're frustrated about. But if you focus on it, if you get fixated on all of the things that are wrong, it's not a fun life.
No, it's not. And it's all a matter of how you look at it. Is the glass half full or glass half empty?
And the research is coming back and telling us the same thing as well. You know, they have done studies now. A CNN study found that older adults who scored the highest in the highest third for gratitude had a 9% lower risk of death over 4 years compared with the lowest third. So just being grateful alone makes you healthier. And gratitude is associated with a lower risk of major causes of death, including cardiovascular disease and cancer. I do think that sometimes some folks that I have met, and this is by no means everybody, but there are some people that I have met that you can tell they're angry on the inside and it takes a toll on their body.
Oh, that's true. I certainly know people like that. I can remember somebody that I admired that I didn't know, who was a businessman in our state. His motto was, don't walk away from negative people. Run.
Yeah, absolutely. It has actual health things. And then they found too, UCLA Health did a study that practicing gratitude, they discovered, actually reduces your diastolic blood pressure and it synchronizes breathing with heartbeats, supporting cardiovascular health.
That sounds good to me.
It sure does. Other advantages is that you have better mental health and well-being. You have all kinds of stress reduction. You sleep better. People that are grateful have a better night's sleep. And you have lots of social and emotional benefits.
So here in the U.S., we are coming up to Thanksgiving. That's coming up this Thursday. That's how we do it here in the U.S. They have another day that's a little different from that. They have celebrations in Canada. They have celebrations in many countries around the world doing something similar. Maybe they don't call it Thanksgiving. They have their own name for whatever it happens to be. But it's all the same thing. It's a time to take a look at what are we thankful for. And if we're really honest, there's always something to be thankful for. What I'd like to do right now is take a look at the LGBTQ plus community and also the allies and take a look at where we are and why do we have reasons to be thankful instead of feeling as though we're depressed because things aren't going our way. They are going our way, and we'd like to talk a little bit more about that.
Let's start right in talking about how we've made so much progress in rights. And it's easy to see all of the areas where our rights are in danger. But have you thought about how far we've come? That it was only 10 years ago that the Supreme Court said, yes, anywhere in the country, a gay couple can get married. It has not been that long. And yes, I understand that some folks are worried about it and concerned about it. But as it stands right now, every lawyer that I've talked to have said, if you're married right now, you have nothing to fear, and we have no reason to think that marriage equality is on the docket. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, but for right now, we have every reason to be thankful. We are in a better place right now in 2025 than we were in 2005.
Yes.
And that was only 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
And yes, we can look at all the things that we think, I'm not happy about this and I'm not happy about that. But when you compare it to those 20 years ago, look at the amazing progress that we've made.
Oh, we certainly have. There's been a lot less discrimination. There's a lot of anti-discrimination protections that are still expanding in the workplaces and the schools. Things are becoming much easier for people in so many areas. That's not true just in the U.S., but I see it in other countries as well. Yes, we can point out, and we have done this in the past, countries where it's going the other way. But collectively, we are moving in the right direction. And the really exciting news is that ball has started rolling and it can't be stopped.
Also, there's a lot more increasing healthcare awareness for trans and queer people. I have mentioned on this podcast that my own insurance company at times when I was going in to log in on my account didn't recognize transgender as an actual category. I can tell you now they do. And it's not everywhere, but there are lots of places where now they are recognizing when they ask you male or female, they give you an option. And especially in healthcare settings, a lot more places where they are recognizing. And I know my primary care provider always looks up and reads up on the latest transgender health issues, looks at on my levels, what are the regular levels for a transgender woman on my estrogen, on my testosterone, on my other things every time she does my tests. And most health professionals will do that for you now. She's not somebody that's specifically trained in trans issues. She's just a normal small town nurse practitioner. And yet, all of those data points exist now. So she can actually run the data right for me as a transgender woman and say, this is where you should be. And yep, you're right in those levels here. Boy, that was, I'm sure 20 years ago, I would have had to fight in order to get the kind of health care that I needed. And now it's just right there. I am exceptionally grateful for that.
And I can take a look at the last 10 years, and I can tell you that the inclusivity policies in faith communities and civic life has been much, much greater. There are more movements toward acceptance, toward full affirmation, which is wonderful. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that, I think, in 2 weeks, when we're going to be talking with an Episcopal priest. That's Mother Julie.
Next week.
Oh, okay. Well, tune in both weeks and and make sure if we don't have it next week, we'll have it the week after.
We're also very grateful for the social progress that we've made in so many different areas. Here again, compare this to 20 years ago or 25 years ago, and imagine where we were as a community back then. It was okay, considered. I mean, it never was okay, but society figured it was okay still to make gay jokes.
Yes.
And certainly to make transgender jokes. It was still a gag. You remember Austin Powers, and the gag was always, she's a man, baby. It was, he could tell that this person was not really a woman. She was really a spy. And then he called her out, and that was the gag. And now looking back on that did not age well. Why didn't it age well? Because we as a society have grown up and have recognized a lot of us exist. And you just don't do that anymore. I am exceptionally grateful for the ways that I am now treated as just a normal person in society. Now, not everywhere. It's not perfect. But boy, when we compare to how it was 20 years ago, it is so much better.
Even 10 years ago, there is a dramatic difference. I also noticed that there's a lot more LGBTQ plus stories out there on television, in film, in the classrooms. There are so many things that are happening, and they will have not necessarily just as the major character that is focused on in the particular film, but even minor characters that fit in so many places where it's not even uncommon anymore. It's a common thing, and it's wonderful. It's just accept it.
I was so excited when I heard that one of my favorite YouTubers, Abigail Thorne, was cast on the last year's Star Wars series, The Acolyte. She's a transgender woman. She came out on YouTube. I remember watching her when she was presenting mail. And then I don't know how long ago it was, 4 years ago or 5 years ago, she came out as transgender. She had a very public transition. And now here she is as one of the actors that was cast in one of the shows that I watch. And they didn't call attention. They didn't say, oh, look at this. Here's a transgender person. She was just there. She was just one of the characters. They just didn't make a deal out of it. She was just there.
And that's not only that particular one you're talking about. More people, more known people in the public eye are coming out more and more all the time. We're very pleased that we have a transgender person in Congress. That's the first one. I'm expecting a lot more. And there have been many gays in Congress already as well. And that's continuing to grow. That's continuing to be probably, we're ultimately going to get to the 12% that are LGBTQ plus as it is in society. And that would be appropriate. That would be right.
Every time I turn on Netflix, I don't watch a lot of Netflix shows. I'm not that much of a TV person. But there's a show that I really want to watch, and Netflix keeps telling me all the time I should check out this show, Heartstopper. And it's a romance between two men.
Oh.
And it's mainstream. It's not tucked away in the LGBTQ back corner somewhere. It's one of their main things. You know, they're always making their Netflix shows.
Yep.
And this is one of theirs. I'm very excited to watch it. If you've watched it, let us know. Send us an email and let us know. transcendent@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you thought about that if you have seen that show.
Another thing that I notice is happening is social media. It is really pushing the voices of the LGBTQ plus community out there, and it fosters more belonging, more acceptance, and that's wonderful. Another thing I notice is that with the youth of today, the younger people, it's a non-issue. It's where we need to be. In this, it's, as I've always said, it's like being left-handed. I don't hear anybody ever say anything to me in this country about being left-handed. Although I have to tell you, when I lived in Japan, people commented out all the time because they would force their kids who were left-handed to make sure they used their chopsticks with their right hand. It was considered really unacceptable to use chopsticks with the left hand, but I do it all the time.
And then they say, you crazy American.
Yes, that's right. Oh, isn't that cute?
Yeah. And all kinds of things. I'm so glad to see with my kids, they don't think twice about it. And yeah, it seems even strange to them to think, why would you make fun of it?
I know there are some people that are listening to this and they maybe are having a hard time. Their family acceptance isn't there. It's a difficult time for them to get together. And there's a way that you can find gratitude even in a situation like this. We'll tell you how right after this.
Hi, I'm Andy Barrett, a Lutheran pastor and a supporter of this podcast. I see Transcendent as a ministry. I've pointed many people toward these recorded conversations full of so much heart and care and warmth, as well as some of Joe's jokes, which are hands down the worst part of this podcast. But even they make me smile. I'm one of the many genuinely blessed by Transcendent, and I encourage you to join me in supporting this podcast by giving as little as $3 a month. Go to transcendent.com and click support.
Yes, I know there's a little problem there with your family, but you can have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your chosen family.
That's right. It's easy to get into a downward spiral during the holidays, and we think of the broken relationships, the places where things are hard, the family members that are not affirming. This is the time where we want to remind ourselves more than ever about the people around us that do love us, that support us. So for you, this may be your LGBTQ community that you know from the local LGBTQ center. Maybe you have some friends that you've met at certain events. Maybe you have some friends from PFLAG. Maybe you have a connection online. Wherever you find people, celebrate those. Yes, things are hard when everybody is not getting along and everybody is not supportive, but there are supportive people, and that is where we want to turn our attention and to do our best to cultivate those relationships. If you don't have a plan for Thanksgiving, this would be a great time to reach out to some of those friends and say, hey, can we get together and do something together? And I will tell you, we have had a lot of years as our family where somebody has come and said, I don't have a place to go for the holidays. And you, Dad, have said, we would love to have you come join us.
Sure.
And in fact, I will put that out. If anybody is around us, no, I won't put that out.
Well, let's take a look at what families and allies can be thankful for. We're talking a lot about LGBTQ plus people, but families and allies have a lot to be thankful for as well. If you have a loved one in your family, an LGBTQ plus person, and you have developed a deeper empathy, and maybe you've broadened your views, you've learned from those people, you've learned things like it's not a choice, and you've learned how to understand them more just by having that closer connection. That will draw the entire relationship closer and closer together. You and I are an example of that, Raya, because you and I had a close relationship before you transitioned, and it's even closer now. It's closer than it's ever been, which is wonderful. And that's a reason for us to be thankful at our table.
It sure is. Yes, I'm very grateful for you accepting me, and I'm really grateful for how you have grown. We were just talking about this the other day, that I can't imagine 10 years ago if I had gone back and told you, or maybe make it 11 years ago before I transitioned and before you knew about my gender issues. If somebody had said to you, you are going to be doing a podcast about LGBTQ issues with your transgender daughter.
What? Are you kidding me?
And so that growth has been great. And for those of you that are listening, we're grateful to have you. And I hope that you're grateful for what you have learned from this podcast and how you've been able to grow in other areas, whether you are attending PFLAG or you're reading things online and seeing things online. I hope that you are also grateful for how you've been able to grow.
The growth through love is really critical. Parents and relatives often describe their journey as life-changing. And I'll describe my journey as life-changing, just as you just said, Raya. Teaching us compassion, patience, and pride, I've learned that. And I have said on this podcast before many times, and I'll say it again, I'm not only happy with our relationship, I'm proud of what you were able to accomplish and what you've done. It took a lot of courage, and you have come out and just shined. You are a happier person. Together, we have a wonderful life together.
Yes, we do. Thank you. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. Another thing we can be grateful for is just the amount of resources and tools and information that is out there. Just having access to the internet. We're wondering, boy, I don't know what to do about these gender issues. Well, you do a quick web search and you can immediately find 24 videos, podcasts, articles, resources helping you to figure out what to do. Plus, there are all kinds of books that have been written now. Way more books than we ever had back in the 80s and the 90s. Way more resources. Way more understanding. The research has come out and gone so far. You know, back in those days, in the DSM-3, which is what the psychologists and mental health professionals were using to diagnose mental health issues, they were still classifying transsexualism as a diagnosis. It was under psychosexual disorders. And now they have instead changed it to gender dysphoria.
Yes.
The issue is now not that I am who I am. The issue is I was who I was, and because of that, I felt like I had to be a certain way that didn't line up. We have come so far to recognize the disorder is not that I exist. The disorder is that I felt like I had to exist in a way that didn't match up before.
It made it really difficult. It was always playing a game.
Thankfully, they have now acknowledged we got it wrong.
Yeah.
We got it wrong. We were based in our assumptions and our incorrect biases. And once those got corrected, it has really helped our community a lot.
So we've given you some great reasons to be happy, some great reasons to be thankful. And if you're listening today on Monday as we're coming out, you've got just a few days that if you weren't planning on having a happy Thanksgiving, we've given you some ideas to do that because you can. And when you say, I will have a happy Thanksgiving, you will. It will be wonderful. We truly, sincerely, from the bottom of our heart, wish you a happy Thanksgiving. If you're encountering someone that isn't certain about how they feel about that, what they should know, direct them to this podcast. It's a labor of love. We talk about the kinds of things that we think are important to all people who have any way connections with the LGBTQ plus community. Whether you are a supporter, whether you are questioning, whether you're not certain, we've got something here for you. That's our Thanksgiving gift to you. We've got about 200 podcasts out there now. I'm just rounding. And I think that's about what it is. We would love to have you share those podcasts with other people. We've got something out there for everyone, I'm certain.
I'd like to close this out by sharing a few things that we are grateful for right now, and I'll tell you one that I am grateful for.
Yes.
I'm grateful that you had the idea for this podcast.
Thank you.
It was not something that I would have thought about, but yet you had the idea and you came back and you said, hey, let's do this thing. I think we could really do something good with this. We have been able to have a voice of positivity and bring the things that have been really good about what we have and bring it to those out there. And I'm also really grateful for each and every listener to have you coming back week after week. It really does mean so much to us to have you say, I want to show up. I want to learn. I want to hear what you all have to say and what your guests have to say. Thank you.
And I'm thankful for the fact that I am so much further ahead on my walk to understanding the LGBTQ community. And I am looking forward to this next year when I'm going to be learning even more. Well, with that, I think we ought to have another piece of pumpkin pie.
That sounds good to me.
We'll see you Monday. The growth through love is really critical. How do they do that, Raya?
I don't know.